All right, everybody. Welcome to the Week 13 version of the Fantasy Blueprint. Britton's not going to be with us tonight. He was putting some kids down. He's had a long Thanksgiving. He may be battling some sickness still, tired. Not really sure. Prayers out to Britton tonight. Wish he was with us, but he sent us his core four and he's going to send us his lineup. So be sure to lay that on you guys. Pause. Uh, Cole, how you doing? You just ready for the Auburn Alabama game tomorrow? So you get your hat on.
I'm gonna be wearing this until 6:30 tomorrow. I figured I might as well go ahead and get dressed because we're gonna need all the positive voodoo, positive spirits we can get going into Jordan here at night. So, um, anyways, besides that, man, B Flow, get through it. We missed you tonight. We'll be thinking about you. Anything that's positive that happens this weekend is gonna be thanks to me and Gabe, and no thanks to you. No, I'm just kidding.
He sent me a couple of his picks, so we'll be sure to relay them to you guys. But we'll jump right in. And we're going to start with the quarterback picks. And Cole, I'm going to let you go first. I feel like I know what direction you're headed because you're a homer. Always have been, always will be. So go ahead and give me your picks for quarterback this week.
Uh, Yeah, I would consider myself a homer, but I'm not a homer this week. Give me Jacoby Brissett at 5,800 against Tampa Bay. He's had six straight 20-plus games. Tampa Bay's 30th against quarterbacks. They allow 243 and a half passing yards a game, good for 27th in the league. And they allow 25.3 points allowed per game, good for 26th in the league. So Tampa Bay's going to let up some points. Second guy I got is actually Tua Tagovailoa at 4,900 against New Orleans. The Saints have a solid pass defense but allow points, and I'm expecting low ownership with Tua at 4,900. Maybe the Saints defense kind of scares people away from that, and there's better options as well.
Hey,
But
buddy, the Saints defense ain't scaring anybody away from anything.
they're actually ranked ninth against the pass, and they're not. I mean, they don't have a terrible defense. They're just out there all the time, like I've been saying the whole year.
They're just out there all the
I mean, eventually you're
time.
going to get tired. I
That's true.
mean, running a marathon, you're going to get tired eventually, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but the Dolphins are coming off a bye week, so I think I find that kind of intriguing with how McDaniel sets up his offense, and he's had time to prepare for this game. So I'm kind of intrigued with how Tua will do this weekend. Third guy, I've never thought I would ever do this, but I've got Cam Ward at 4,600 against Jacksonville. So I'm actually a homer for your team this weekend.
Love
Uh,
it.
they had 24.3 last game versus Seattle, and Jacksonville's ranked 29th versus quarterbacks. Seattle's not a bad defense. That's primarily what they're known for, outside of Jackson Smith and Jigba catching out with passes. But
This is true.
yeah, Jacksonville has let up 240 passing yards a game, and they're good for 25th in the league. And also, Cam Ward's been using his legs a little more. I believe he got a rushing touchdown this past weekend, and he's rushed for 30 or more yards in his last two games. So 30 yards of rushing, that's good for is that good for 3 points?
Yeah, it's good for 3 points.
So
Almost like a passing touchdown.
yeah, half a pat or yeah, it is. Passing touchdown's 4 points. So
Yeah, almost a passing touchdown.
yeah, so he almost, I mean, it's basically almost passed a touchdown. So those are the three quarterbacks I got. Um, I do like a lot of players on the Saints, but we're not ready to go into those yet, and we'll get to those whenever we get to them. So who you got next, Gabe?
Yeah, you took two of my guys. You took Tua and you took Jacoby Brissett. So I won't spend too much time on them. Like you said, Tua's coming off a bye, so I like that a lot. And they're going to move the ball, I think, against New Orleans, especially the way they H-Had's been running the last few weeks. But the last 7 games, Jacoby Brissett has averaged 275 pass yards a game. And also the defense he's going against, they're averaging about 29.9 fantasy points against quarterbacks in their last 3 games. So not very good. Tampa Bay. They've been letting up a lot of points to the quarterback, but this guy might surprise you a little bit. Going up against San Francisco, making his second start for the Cleveland Browns, Shadur Sanders, 4,200. I think he's like the first quarterback in I don't know how many years, 50 something years, to win in his debut with the team. I think he's riding high. And I think rookie quarterbacks have a lot of success early, especially when teams don't have film on them and they don't really know how to attack them, what makes them uncomfortable, etc. seen a little regression in Bo Nix and a significant regression in C.J. Stroud in their second year at quarterback, and I think that's due to figuring out tendencies and where their weaknesses are. And people are still trying to figure out what Shadur Sanders is bad at versus what he's good at. And one thing that San Francisco is not good at, that's defending the pass in the last few games. Jacoby Brissett went for 452 and 2 touchdowns against them. Matt Stafford went for 280 and 4 touchdowns against them. And also Jackson Dart went for 196 and a touchdown and also 56 on the ground and a touchdown. All over 20 fantasy points, those three quarterbacks against San Francisco defense. And you're getting Shadur Sanders at almost the minimum at home. And San Francisco does not do a good job rushing the passer. They have 13 sacks this year. Not very good. I think Shadur Sanders stays on his feet and have a lot of time to get the ball down the field. So I think Shadur Sanders is a really good play at the price 4,200, especially at home. A little foreshadowing there for maybe a core four or a plum pick, but I won't tell you which one it is. But that's where I'm leaning at the quarterback position.
Yeah, Shador
Um,
Sanders isn't a bad play. With more confidence with each game, and some of those players, whenever they feel like they found the right person at quarterback, tend to play a little harder and tend to try and win for that quarterback. And I think that's what they've been waiting on is Shador to get his opportunity. So I feel like these guys could possibly turn a positive performance last week into another one this week.
yeah, definitely. Last week versus Las Vegas, he had 209 yards and a touchdown. Las Vegas is a pretty underrated defense, for being honest. They have still think they have not let up a 100-yard rusher this year on the ground, and they do a good job pressuring their quarterback. So it's yeah, it's a good debut for Shadur Sanders, and he's going up against a worse defense at home. So I think he outscores 12 points, which is really all he needs. A couple of passing touchdowns, maybe a rush touchdown. Well, we'll see. All right, we're going to move forward now. Move past quarterbacks, and we're going to go towards running backs. So, do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Yeah, let's alternate here. You go ahead and get yours so I don't snipe your guys in case you have some that I have.
Well, I do know who you have because you're a homer, and I won't steal him yet, but I will go into this guy, Kyron Williams at 6,600. So one thing I like to do when I'm picking my teams is I like to alternate between apps. I go check the FanDuel salaries. I go check the DraftKings salaries. There's discrepancy between the pricing, and if you look at the running backs this week, Kyron Williams is the fifth most expensive running back on FanDuel. If you look at DraftKings, he's the eighth most expensive running back. So there's a big price difference there on those two apps. They're going up against the Carolina defense, who has been absolutely shredded on the ground this year. So Kamara's best game this year, where he had over 100 total yards, he had 83 on the ground and like 30 through the air, was against Carolina. Also, Bijan ripped that defense open for 143 yards on the ground. So Kyron Williams, I think, is a pretty good play at 6,600. He's like I said, he's going for a lot more on the FanDuel app than he is on the DraftKings app. So he's at a really affordable price. Now I know where you're going, so go ahead and get it out of the way. Give me the Saints player.
Yeah, I've got Devin Neal at 5,000 against Miami. He played 86% of the snaps with Alvin Kamara hurt. He had 5 receptions as well in that game, which was able to get him to 11 points. Miami's 27th against running backs. They're 29th in rushing yards per game allowed. So Devin Neal, whenever the Saints drafted him, were very confident and think he's a steal. They have a lot of confidence in him, and I think that's a good play, especially if he's playing 86% of the snaps. The only downside for that's going to be uh, Big Taysom Hill's possibly going to be the red zone
The vulture.
vulture. So
Mm.
that's something if you're going to pick him, you better be careful. So
I wonder what a Taysom Hill anytime touchdown is this weekend.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was in the minuses.
Mm.
I would not be shocked at all. They gave him a lot of red zone opportunities last week, and they just couldn't get inside the red zone. So
That seems like a pretty good bet
mhm.
this weekend. I might have to look into that. All right.
Yeah,
So, you got anything else on Devin Neal?
I don't have anything else on Devin. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think there's a small sample size, so it's hard to estimate, what his production is going to be. You can only go with what you've seen kind of in reserve
You
due,
know,
but
real
he's
quick,
getting
you said estimate. Fun fact: the backup running back is Audric Estime.
Oh, I know. I saw that. I added him on one of my leagues in case Devin Neal didn't play because he was questionable, but it seems like he's back. It's going to be hard to. I think the
Estime.
floor.
It's gonna be hard to
I,
estimate the Saints running backs.
I think the floor for Devin Neal is significantly higher, to be honest with you, than it is for Alvin Kamara right now, just because they were splitting touches, whereas now I think Devin Neal doesn't have to split touches, and I think that pass catching upside kind of falls majority on him and not as much with Estimate. But Taysom Hill anytime touchdown plus 170. So if you like it at minus whatever you thought it was, you need to take it at plus 170. uh, my next running back, I'm going with Brees Hall against the Atlanta Falcons. They're letting up 133 rush yards a game. And the last 2 weeks, they've done a pretty good job containing the run, but it's been against some subpar offensive lines and teams. Before that, I mean, it was 100-yard city against the Atlanta Falcons on the ground. I mean, they were every single running back it seemed like was going for 100, and Indianapolis broke off 323 rush yards against them a few weeks ago.
Mm.
Almost pretty similar to what the Bears did to the Philadelphia Eagles today.
Yeah,
If you
everybody
saw
expected
that,
that. Everybody expected that one today.
yeah, that was embarrassing for the Eagles. But Brees Hall, like I said, with Tyrod Taylor at the helm, he'll have some better pass catching upside than he did with Justin Fields. And Tyrod Taylor is definitely not as much of a threat to vulture a goal line touchdown as Fields was, and he's definitely more capable of getting the ball down the field as we've seen with some of the subpar pass catchers he's having to work with, and they're still finding ways to get in the end zone. So I think Brees Hall, I think his ceiling is a little higher with Taylor than it is with Fields for sure. And I think getting him at 6,000 is a pretty good price at home against Atlanta. If they can get the ball moving. I'm not sure I trust Kirk Cousins really to, you know, even if they do blow him out, even if Kirk Cousins blows him out, I mean that still bodes well for Brees Hall. So I like him a lot. Do you have another guy?
Yeah. Shout out to Flo. Uh, Trevor Etienne. No, I'm just kidding. Travis Etienne Jr. at 6,500 against Tennessee. He's had 15 or more rushing attempts in the last 4 games, so he's going to get touches, value by volume. Tennessee's 28th versus running backs, allowing 132 rushing yards per game. That's good for 25th in the league, and Etienne's going to continue to get catches. Another possible vulture opportunity with Base Tootin getting in there at the goal line. It seems to be frequently happening. But another guy I've got is Kamani Vidal at 5,700 against Vegas. I know you discussed they haven't let up a 100-yard rusher yet. Is that what you said?
Yes, I think that's still the case.
Okay, so the story with Kamani Vidal is he's been very streaky. He had 22 points one game, then he had three the next week, then he had 17, then he had three the next week. So I'm just playing by trends. So I'm just gonna assume he has another good week at this point. But yeah, Kamani Vidal is gonna get most of the touches with Hampton out. Hampton's already ruled out. So Vidal's going to be the lead back again, and we'll at 5,700 is a pretty low salary for a lead back. So that's who somebody you can keep an eye on as well. So
Yeah. Now this right here could be the play of the weekend. Zonovan Knight is questionable with a knee injury. I think he was limited at the final practice this week on Thursday and Friday. We'll see what they say tomorrow as far as what his practice status is. But if he doesn't play, Darren Mercado is out, and Donovan Knight would be out, and I think the third running back they have would also be out. That leaves
Michael
Michael
Carter.
Carter at 4,200 as the primary ball carrier for the Arizona Cardinals in a revitalized offense with Jacoby Brissett. And in the last 2 games, he had 5 catches and 3 catches. So you're getting both 3 down usage, and he's basically at the minimum salary against Tampa, who does a good job against the run. They're ranked seventh in the league at rush yards a game, but volume there and a good offense with Brissett at the helm, I think is pretty hard to pass up. He needs 12 points. I mean, if he catches 5 passes for 40 yards, and maybe gets a touchdown or gets 50 yards, I mean, you're meeting your projection pretty easily at that price. So beware of Zonovan Knight if he doesn't play. Michael Carter is a really really good play and a steal at that price as the lead back.
Yeah.
This right here, this next part here for wide receivers, unless you don't have any more running backs. Do you have any more running backs?
Now I was going to say Michael Carter had a good week. The one time an opportunity he got to be the lead back, he didn't have a terrible week. So if you can get him at that price, that's definitely a potential steal.
Gotta watch Donovan Knight. Gotta watch that injury. Check to see if that knee. Yeah, we'll be monitoring that, and if you follow the TikTok channel, we'll most likely post that play on there. But this is where it gets kind of sweaty because when you're talking about value wide receivers this week, it gets it gets kind of spooky. Not a ton of good matchups. I think there are some cheap receivers that have had production in the past, but I don't they don't really have those juicy, must play matchups or a quarterback that you necessarily trust. So I'm curious which direction you go first here with your value wide receiver. So where are you going?
Yeah, I was thinking Michael Wilson, 5,900, as a potential new lead wide receiver. Watch out for Marvin Harrison coming back. Obviously, he's going to dig into the targets, but man, Michael Wilson's been a target machine for Jacoby Brissett these last 2 weeks. So
15 and 18 targets in 2 weeks. I mean, Marvin Harrison never sniffed that type of
no,
volume
not
when he was
not
there.
that kind of
So,
production. So it's
but to be
obvious
fair,
now.
I'll say to be fair, he didn't get Brissett, but like 1 or 2 games. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's obvious now that Michael Wilson is obviously being looked for by Jacoby Brissett. So he's obviously being looked for on routes. His first read is, "Where's Michael Wilson? Is he open?" Or maybe his second read behind Trey McBride. It's
I
probably
think it's.
Trey, and then
I honestly think it's more of a they've decided now that he can pass. They're going to run the offense like they wanted to, or Kyler Murray, but they just couldn't. And also, their running backs are so depleted that they're like, we're just going to have to rely on the arm. And he's throwing the ball 40 times a game. And so, if you really think about it, they're going to get almost 20 targets a game if he's throwing it 40 times because they're the best two options. So, yeah.
yeah. The second guy I got, I'm digging really deep into the bag here, uh, but I'm going to go back to him. I'm going back to the well again, back to back weeks. John Mechie the third against Atlanta. He's on a touchdown streak right now. It's only 2 games, but
That's a streak.
the streak,
That's a streak.
streak, it has happened before.
Let me tell you this: Jacoby Brissett in the last 3 games, 44 pass attempts, 57 pass attempts, and 49 attempts. I mean, if you really break those, dude, even before that, I mean, he's averaging. It looks like over 40 pass attempts a game. I mean, if you just take his last 6 games, pass attempt wise, he may have more pass attempts in the last 6 than some quarterbacks have on the whole year.
I guarantee you he's probably got more than Justin Fields.
Oh well, yeah, just feels yeah for sure. I mean, let's Aaron Rodgers. He probably has more pass attempts than Aaron Rodgers does the whole year. I don't. It's crazy how much they're throwing the ball. But sorry, I didn't mean to derail you off the John Mechie. But yeah,
No, you're
he's
good.
streaking.
Yeah, he's streaking. He's gonna have more. He's got more opportunities now. He's starting to show his talent a little bit. He's never been a terrible player from his time at Alabama. He just never had the opportunities.
He also
Now
wasn't a combine guy. He didn't like show out at the combine. I think he ran like a 4.6, and he didn't jump six crazy off the vertical. So it's almost like the GMs weren't dropping their jaws, thinking, "Oh my God, like this is the next DK Metcalf." But I mean, he's a football player. He knows how to
yeah,
get open.
yeah, and he runs. He's a crisp route runner. As you all know from the Iron Bowl a few years ago, whenever you hit that uh that whip route for a touchdown or not touchdown, what was it? No, 2 point conversion to win the game in the Iron Bowl that year. But he's a talented player, and I'm glad he's getting more opportunities. He's done the most with opportunities so far. So I want to go back to the well with Tyrod again and see if he can keep it going now that he's kind of the touchdown target. Third guy I've got, and then I mean, we've been cautious about quarterback play, but we're going to be real cautious about this one. Nico Collins at 6,700 against Indianapolis.
You think there's some value there, or you think it's more of just like you just really like the play?
I like to play more than anything. Indy lets up a lot of yards, 250 yards, passing yards allowed a game. Nico Collins is very talented, as we all know. I mean, he's had multiple 20-point games this year, some more recently, and he has shown rapport with C.J. Stroud. So he's done it before with C.J. Stroud. So it's not a crazy play to say, "Oh, C.J. Stroud's back. Let's not play Nico Collins." Because he's done it before in the past. He may be able to do it again. Maybe C.J. Stroud needed this little break to come back and start throwing the ball better. But we'll see. I mean, that's 6,700. It's not a terrible play for a wide receiver one. I think that's the best receiver in the 6,000s. Um, but Gabe, you give me your picks and see if you can kind of correct my wrongs here.
No, I mean I like your picks. I got a couple of those. One, I'm gonna go more towards hypothetical situations and also some value here. Tampa Bay, you got Emeka Ibuka at 6,500, and you got Chris Godwin coming off his fibula injury at 5,000. Played 36% of the snaps last week. Chris Godwin, when he gets healthy and he's playing a full allotment of snaps, he is going to be back to wide receiver one for Baker Mayfield because we've seen it before. He's been that way since he's been in with Mike Evans, out targeting Mike Evans most of the time. Like Baker Mayfield really, really likes Chris Godwin. The problem is they're kind of easing him back into action right now. We don't really know when he's going to get that full allotment of snaps. So when that does happen, I think we need to watch out for Chris Godwin. I don't think it's this week, but he is at 5,000, and he will get that. He will get that volume back soon.
Man, that is a crazy take.
What? He's wide receiver one.
He's wide receiver one with the year that Emeka Ibuka's had so far.
I
But
mean, the year that Emeka Ibuka is having, I'd love to see how that stacks up to Chris Godwin's best year with Baker Mayfield. Because I mean, Emeka Ibuka, I'm looking at a 3 game stretch of 4, 9, and 6
so basically,
on
you're
him.
saying he's not that. You're saying he's not that guy.
I mean, his last 2 games,
You're
he
not
had
that
9
guy,
and
pal. Trust
6.
me. You're not that guy. Okay.
Emeka Ibuka in his last 2 games is averaging 7 points. So, and Chris Godwin, his prime with Baker Mayfield, he wasn't averaging 4 points over a 3 game stretch ever. I don't think. I mean, Chris Godwin was a target machine. So you gotta watch. You gotta watch out for Chris Godwin later on this year. Maybe not this week, but yeah, I think Emeka Ibuka is probably still the number one for now. But beware of that situation developing in Tampa. I like John Mechie, and I'm going to the Titans game this Sunday against Jacksonville, and the two guys there, Shamir DK and Elik Iomanner, two names that are hard to say, but and they're also had a Shamir DK has had a fantastic last week, returning a punt for a 90-yard touchdown, also going for over, I think he went for 60 yards into the air. He went for 44 yards on 5 catches, but had that punt return. He also caught a touchdown. So he had 2 touchdowns last week. So he's growing. He's showing he has a good chemistry with Cam Ward, and Jacksonville is ranked. I think they have how many? What is their pass rank this year? 25th
Mm-hmm.
in pass yards a game. Jacksonville is, and 20th versus the receivers. So I think Shamir DK at 4,400 has potential at home to reproduce what he did last week against Jacksonville. But Elik Iomanner is 3,700 with a hamstring injury, and like we talked about, hamstring injuries scare me to death. But the fact that he is 3,700 with no Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward's playing better than he has early in the season, man, it's hard not to pick him over DK. But DK's been, I mean, he's blown it. He's blown it up the last few weeks. He had 16 points, actually more than 16 points in 2 weeks, week 7 and 8, while Ridley and Iomanner were playing. So I think DK is kind of taking over the role of the lead receiver for the Tennessee Titans over Iomanner just due to his recent production. But both guys, hard to trust with Cam Ward, but that dart throw that we always talk about, you got to think about it.
One thing I've
Um,
always wondered with the Titans is, with Cam Ward being from Miami, why have they never tried to play Xavier Restrepo?
it's funny you say that, buddy, because he had 6 targets last week, and he's a guy I was going to talk about. He only played like 26% of the snaps, but when he was on the field, Cam Ward was looking at him heavy. And
Yeah,
so if Elik Iomanner is out, I was going to say that. I think Restrepo gets some usage this week against Jacksonville at the minimum salary of 3,000. So watch that, see if Iomanner is playing, because if not, I think Restrepo might be a sneaky play in that offense. They're trying to find guys they can keep around next year with their draft picks and unsigned free agents that are on the team. So I think he definitely gets some usage. They are playing a lot of receivers though, rotating them out. But yeah, like you said, Cam Ward has good chemistry there. we'll talk on another Tennessee Titans player in the tight end section. I don't know if you know who it is, but you will.
I'm
It's
assuming I
coming.
know who it is if it's who I'm thinking it is, who is the only Titans receiver or Titans tight end that I know.
Nope, it's not him. That's the point. We're gonna
Uh,
get there. We're gonna get there,
okay.
buddy. We're gonna get there.
Cliffhanger. Oh man, I
Yeah,
can't wait.
yeah.
You got to start off the tight end section anyway, so you might as well go ahead and name them now.
I got more receivers. I'm not going anywhere
Oh,
yet.
okay, all right.
I got some more receivers. So when is this gonna happen? When is the Devon Vele bomb gonna drop? When is it coming? When do
What
you
do you
think?
mean whenever he scores like a touchdown or
When he
two?
catches one of those long 50, 40-yard touchdowns and maybe catches two of them and breaks the slate wide open if you don't have him. Because he had 7 targets last week and he's playing above 80% of the snaps. So he's clearly the wide receiver too. When is the bomb coming? Does it come against Miami? Because Miami's not, a threatening defense at the cornerback position. So is it this week? Is the bomb coming this week?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess it'll be once Kellen Moore feels comfortable with Tyler Shuck's ability to throw the ball. Now, has
It's
two
week 3,
weeks, but
man. This is his third
I
start,
know
isn't it?
has 2 starts been enough to see if he's able to sling it around and throw deep. I mean, he did hit Olave uh, on a couple last week, so I mean, maybe it's this week for all we know. All I know is I'm not playing him.
You're not gonna take a chance on him. You're
Love
not
the
gonna take a
Saints.
chance
I
on
don't
Vele
love.
at 3,500
I
after
love
7
this.
targets last week
I
and
love the Saints.
37 points.
I can play other players besides him.
Man, no exposure for the Vele, none.
Hey, low ownership.
I'm gonna have him some exposure on Vele in a few lineups, just due to the big play potential and low ownership. I think you got to have at least a couple lineups with him in there, just as a
You're going to
you know
expose yourself with
a
Vele.
lotto play.
Are you exposing yourself with Vele?
I'm gonna expose myself with Vele.
What do you mean by that?
That's a good one. That's good. I deserve that one. I earned that one. My last receiver before we move on. I wanted to name a lot since Britton's not with us. So I wanted to touch on a lot of guys that he would have maybe touched on. Pause. This is my last one. Keenan Allen, the Los Angeles Chargers, is at 5,000 salary. He's been hovering around this price pretty much all year, but going back to the first 3 weeks of the season, he had 19, 17, and 19 on 10, 7, and 11 targets. His production has kind of gone down. I think that's mainly due to the ascension of Aronde Gatson at tight end and also Quentin Johnson. But they're playing Las Vegas, who's ranked 26th against the pass and receivers. Um, they do have a decent defense against the run. Like you said, you like Vidal this week. He might be a sneaky play, but I think if they're gonna get Vegas this week, it's gonna be with Herbert through the air. And Keenan Allen's actually playing more snaps than Lad McConkey. And I think if you break down the targets this year between the two, I think he is actually out targeting Lad McConkey. And he may have, let's see, he's got 56 receptions and 592 yards, and Lad McConkey has 54 and 644. So you got Keenan Allen has more receptions. Ladd has a few more yards. McConkey has 4 touchdowns. Keenan Allen has 4 touchdowns. Very, very similar production between Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. And if I'm going to choose one of them this week against Vegas, I mean, I'm going to choose the cheaper guy if they're getting similar production and one of them's on the field more. The cheaper guy's on the field more. I gotta go with Keenan Allen. And 5,000 salary is 15 points. He catches a touchdown. He's on a 4 week, I think, drought streak. Touchdowns is what I saw. And usually when someone goes in a drought, the longer, the more weeks they go without a touchdown, it's almost like a basketball player shooting threes. The more threes you miss in a row, the higher the percentage of the next one's going in. If you're not a shooter, that's what you got to tell yourself. The more you miss, the percentage is only going up, the next one's going in. And so with Keenan Allen, the more weeks he goes without a touchdown, the percentages just go up more and more that he's going to have a touchdown the next week. So some people may disagree with that, some statistical heads out there, but it makes sense to me. So I like Keenan Allen at 5,000, kind of being the target leader there over McConkey. So that's all my receivers. I got to dart through there. Got to find some guys we like. But on the upper end, you've got Puka Nacua at 9,000, Jefferson versus Seattle 7,100, and I think a sneaky guy is Jalen Waddle, the way he's been playing at 6,800. So you're gonna have to You're gonna have to take a flyer on some of those high price guys if you go value with one of them. But I think the best matchup and probably the safest play is Puka. I don't really let's talk a little bit just very quickly about some of the high price receivers and if you like their matchup. I'm gonna give you their name. I'm gonna give you their matchup, and I just want you to give me a yes or a no on if you like them. All right. And Jigba versus Minnesota, ranked third versus receiver.
I expect high production. I just don't expect outlandish production. I'd say
You're
23 points, but not 40. Like not
you're
40
not
like
looking for
last week.
40. Puka versus Carolina.
Don't like it because there's so many weapons with the Rams with Devontae Adams and Colby Parkinson starting to get involved more and Kyron Williams. I don't like very much. I'd probably say same as in Jigba, 20 points.
Justin Jefferson with Max Brosmer at the
Uh,
quarterback position against Seattle.
who was Max Brosmer?
Played in Minnesota, baby. I know Max Brosmer. I remember him at Minnesota last year. He's a rookie. That one was a joke because I want to have zero Justin Jefferson exposure against Seattle. But all right, they're really the two I wanted to ask you is about Puka and Jackson Smith and Jigba because at their price you need 27 points or more from those two guys to meet that salary,
I don't
and I
think they're
don't
going
know
to
if
be
they're
that
getting
high.
there.
I don't
Yeah,
see either one of them getting that high.
yeah. So that's the reason I wanted to ask. I don't either, especially not in Jigba, even though he's good, man. But I just don't know against I don't know against Minnesota. They've had they're a pretty good team, but I think I like man Puka against Carolina. I don't know, man. It's sneaky.
It is.
Like he's
It
a
is.
good player,
J.C.
but
Horn's probably going to be guarding them. I'm not sure. I don't think he's injured. I think he's back. But
I don't know.
that's
I think J.C. Horn may go Devontae Adams because of the red zone potential. I don't know. It's an interesting interesting discussion because if you look at Njigba's last 5 games, his price has gone up significantly. I mean, he's basically been at an average of 8,000, and it's gone up between 8 to 9. He's had 29, 25, 20, 23, and then he broke out for 40. So reality, he's only outscored his projection like 1 or 2 weeks out of the last 5 weeks. So really, really solid floor, like you said, for Njigba, but maybe not as much upside this week. And same with Puka. I think you get a really high floor with Puka. I think that's kind of what we mean. What we wanted this to say is that your upside this week with Puka and Njigba is going to be limited. I think that's the moral of the story.
is they're
All right,
more likely to be touching the floor than the ceiling.
correct. All right, so all right, let's go to tight ends. What
Everybody loves a good
you,
tight end.
you want me to lead it off with the tight end action? You want me to lead off?
Yeah, I think I let it off with receivers. So you get us going with the tight ends.
All right, so Chigakonkwo missed practice on Thursday with a foot injury, and they've got him listed as a limited practice participant today. We'll see what they say about Saturday if they have a walkthrough. Gunnar Helm, I think third round draft pick this year for the Tennessee Titans. In his last 2 games, 5 targets and 7 targets, 51 yards and 29 yards. If Okonkwo is out, they've been splitting reps at the tight end position. And if you take their combined production in the last few weeks, you're talking about 8 to 10 targets for for the tight end of the Tennessee Titans if only one of them is on the field. What, you don't like it? You don't like it if
Hey
Okonkwo's not in there?
man, I mean that scares me to death. But Gunnar Helm has. I mean, if you go back
Gunnar
to
Helm is
college,
at the minimum. Okay, let me tell you this. Gunnar Helm is at the minimum salary at 2,000, actually almost the minimum, 2,600 against the 31st ranked team at the position guarding tight ends in Jacksonville.
yeah.
At 2,600. I mean, that's a low price. You're talking about you need 7 points from Gunnar Helm.
Is he a rookie this
Uh,
year?
yeah, he's a
See,
rookie.
that's another thing. He's another one of those guys. You have no idea what you have until you see him play.
He's been playing. He got 30 reception and 267 yards this year and a touchdown,
But
man.
I'm
He's been
talking
he's
about
good.
as a lead tight end. He's
Oh,
not hasn't
I
been a
mean,
lead
yeah.
tight end. So
But you saw what he did at Texas.
oh,
I mean, he
100%. I'm
did.
not saying that. I'm saying we don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad play. He's one of the few tight ends I've seen last year that I said, this guy is really talented. Like this guy's really good. Like you can tell he's an NFL tight end. So I know what you're saying. He definitely has the potential. It's an interesting play. I don't say I dislike it. I'm not saying that at all. That's just a very interesting play. It's dangerous, but hey, we like dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it's
Dangerous.
if he's the main pass catching weapon at the tight end position with all the revolving door receivers. That's the thing about receivers and tight ends is like you play a lot of teams that have 3 receiver sets, 4 receiver sets, whatever it is, and then rotate a lot of guys in. At the tight end position, it's kind of different. Like you get, unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, like if a guy goes down at tight end, usually a guy steps up and plays like all the snaps. If there's 2 splitting. Think about David Njoku and Harold Fannin. I mean, they split snaps almost 50-50. But if one of them's out, Fannon's playing 100% of the snaps, and he basically gets both production. Especially when you have 2 tight ends that are productive, and then one of them goes out, and you're telling me that that guy is going to now eat up the other guy's production that he would get in an offense. The plays that were drawn up for the other guy are now being drawn up for him again, so he's getting double the production. And it makes me also think about, like I said, Pittsburgh. If 2 of those Pittsburgh tight ends go down, and you're telling me I can get Fryermuth, Smith, or Darnell Washington with the volume that those tight ends get in Pittsburgh, then I'm going to do it. And I'll talk a little bit about more of the Pittsburgh tight ends later because I have a stat for you um, about the defense there playing against playing against Darren Waller. But anyway, Gunnar Helm I think is a good pick this week if Okonkwo is out, basically at the minimum price. And then I'll flip it to you, and then you come back to, and we'll see what you have, and then I'll come back to me.
You want to go ahead and go again? You want to go now?
You go, give me one, and then I'll throw it back
Okay,
to
you want
you.
to go back and forth? All right. Well, I'll go with
We're gonna go shot for shot. What is it?
I'll go with the homer pick first. I've got Jawan Johnson 4,200 against Miami. I like this pick because he's been over 10 in the last 5. So if you can get that kind of production from your tight end and just get him over 10 consistently, I think you have a pretty good chance of setting yourself up for your other big players to make you some money. And Miami's 28th versus tight ends. So it's definitely a tantalizing pick. Um, Fun fact: Tyler Shuck and Jawan Johnson, I think, actually played together at Oregon back in that time.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no possible way.
I think I'm like 80% sure. We'll have to
All
look
right.
into that later. But they've already got good chemistry then, if that's the case. So it's shown in the last 2 starts. Jawan Johnson's got a lot of targets. So that's my guy. Get another shot.
All right. Well, you need to figure out if Jawan Johnson and wow, actually, I think they did. Um, Tyler played together at the University of Oregon in college and are currently teammates in the 2019 season. Good lord, man! How long is that guy in college? Anyway,
He's 26. He's a 26-year-old rookie. If you got a dream out there, if you have a dream out there, you can do it. If you're 26, it's not too late. I'm 28. I'm trying out for the Saints at fullback next year.
that is absolutely nuts. Anyway, all right. My next shot, Dalton Schultz at 3,800 for the Houston Texans. I think he has a bounce back week. They played Buffalo last week, and they had, I think, 3 or 4 turnovers, put them in a lot of short field situations where they weren't necessarily needing to press the ball down the field and or have a high volume passing attack with Davis Mills. So he was coming off 3 games with 9 targets, 11 and 8, and then last game he had 4. So a little bit of I guess let's say like a not a faded game, but a little bit of regression. He didn't have the high target share, and I think he has to get back to that this week against Indianapolis, who is ranked. I think I saw they were ranked 27th versus tight end, so a good matchup there. But this is also the team, Indianapolis, that Aronde Gadsden went for 164 yards against Indianapolis Colts. And then the Pittsburgh tight end trio went for 10 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown versus Indy. So tight ends have been pretty useful against the Colts, and I feel like Houston will definitely be privy to that information of what tight ends have done to them. So I think they try to get Schultz involved. I still think he is the number 2 option in the pass catching game, and CJ Stroud is back, and I think he's had a little better production with Stroud. But it's I don't trust Christian Kirk, and I know they have a revolving door of Hutchison, Higgins, and Noel with Nico Collins. So that's where I go back to what I said about Gunnar Helm. Uh, Schultz is going to be on the field a lot as the only tight end really that they trust. Whereas receivers, you kind of rotate those guys around. It's a little more volatile. Schultz will be on the field. He'll be on the field.
He'll be on the field. He'll be
He'll
on
be.
the field. I had to cross him off my list because I had him wrote down as well. He's good with Stroud, so I like that pick a lot. 3,800. I definitely think he's also the second best pass catcher on that team. But I gotta fill his place, and I'm gonna have a confident shot here. Well, I'll save him for last. Give me Colby Parkinson at 2,800 against Carolina. He's had three
Okay.
straight games with a touchdown. He's gone streaking. He's streaking right now.
He's streaking. Okay.
But he is very touchdown dependent. So there is a downside. It's a risky play. I get risky plays. I get it. He's just somebody if you are low on salary and you need a tight end, he's somebody you could pick that has touchdown potential. So that's the guy. That's the. I mean that's all I really got to say about him. I mean he's obviously not going to get. He may not get a lot of targets with Puka, Devontae, and Tyron, and everybody else on that offense. But
Capped upside is what you're saying. Capped upside, but he's had a good last 3 weeks. What you're saying. So
yes, he's streaking, and obviously he's a red zone target. So maybe he'll
you're
make a
not
play.
you're not putting your house on him, but you're saying he's an option, but you're not you're not
No,
betting
I'll
the
tell you
house
who I'm putting my house on with my next pick.
on. Okay. There's a few more guys I want to hit, but I'm gonna go pretty quick. I think we need to watch the Miami Dolphins tight end room. Darren Waller has been designated from return from the injured reserve at 3,900. If he comes back this week, I think he's a viable option with Tua. But Greg Dulcich is 2,500 at the minimum salary, and he's done a pretty serviceable job as that tight end for them. But like I said, not a super high upside there. Definitely not as high upside as Waller's had with his red zone ability. But who's your last guy?
I'm putting the house on it. Taysom Hill 2,700 against Miami Saints. Red zone offense is bad. He gets several rushing attempts. I'm calling it. He's going to be my plum pick as well. Legacy Taysom Hill game Sunday.
10 rushes
Legacy.
last week. 10 rushes for 17 yards. He
And
had
that's
7 rushes the
another
week
And that's
before.
another thing. Devin Neal's the only running back they got. Taysom Hill has been taking several handoffs out of the backfield in the I formation. So
Mm-hmm. And 2
so
pass attempts. So I mean, hey, yeah, it might be. You might be right. It might be with no Camara. It might be the gadget game for Taysom Hill.
I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be the gadget game. That Devon Vele touchdown may come from a Taysom Hill deep bomb. They've been setting that up all year and don't
Man,
run it for some
imagine,
reason.
imagine that you put Taysom Hill and Vele in your lineup, and then you get points for passing touchdowns from Vele. Oh man, what if you went Shuck, Taysom, and Vele, and that's your Millie
That gets your
lineup?
that jingles your jollies, man. Merry Christmas.
Ima- Imagine the torment that you'd have to go through if you started that. You're sitting there one. All right. Uh, let's go to let's go to. So you just gave me your plum pick. So
Yeah.
Taysom Hill is your plum pick.
Yeah, do I need? Let me go ahead and cue the intro up real quick, though. We can talk some more about this stuff with what we see with Taysom Hill. But let me go ahead and get this queued up. So here we go.
Tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
So you like Taysom Hill as the plum pick this week?
I really do, man. I love Taysom Hill 2,700. He hasn't had that gadget game breakout yet. I mean, the opportunities are going to be there for him, but with Kamara out, they need offense, they need production. Taysom is a capable runner, as we all know. He is very capable, and there always one game a year that he scores 3 touchdowns.
Yep,
Why not make
there
it
is.
this one? So
Yep.
that's my
All right.
plums.
That's your plum. So my plum, Shadur Sanders. Already talked about him, but I'm going with Shadur to have a good game versus the San Francisco's 49ers beat up defense. And I'll move forward now with the core four. And I'll start out with Britain's core four this week. Britain's going to go with C.J. Stroud, Brees Hall, the guy we talked about, Jaden Higgins, 3,900, and also Devin Neal. That's Britton's core four. Do you want to start yours? Or you want me to go first? I can go, or you can go.
You go ahead and do yours, buddy.
All right, man. I'm gonna go with Tua at 4,900, and I'm gonna go with Devin Neal at 5,000, and I'm gonna go Dalton Schultz 3,800, and then I was going back and forth between Keenan Allen and Arondé Gadsden, but I think I'm gonna go with Keenan Allen at 5,000. What do you got?
I got Jacoby Brissett 5,800 against Tampa. I got Travis Etienne Jr. at 6,500. I got John Mechie 3,800, and I got Taysom Hill 2,700.
Not Taysom, not Taysom in the core four. All right, I like that. That's called a juicy take.
I always get roasted for having high salary players in my core four. I'm sure you're sitting there like, oh, Travis Etienne 6,500. Cole's doing it again. Not
Mm.
so fast, my friend.
I like that, man. All right, lineups. Uh, I don't have the optimal AI lineup pulled up, so I'll pull it up after Cole gives his lineup. But I'm gonna start out with Britain's lineup here. You got C.J. Stroud, Brees Hall, Devin Neal, Devontae Adams, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, George Kittle with the Devon Chan in the flex, and then you got the Vikings defense at 2,300. If Britton was on here, I would tell him that George Kittle against the Cleveland defense gives me nightmares. But you know, sometimes it's
Nightmare.
not about the matchup; it's more just about talent of the player. So he's trusting George Kittle. I don't necessarily blame him. My team, I'm gonna go with Tua Tungavailoa, 4,900. I'm gonna go Devon Achan, Kyron Williams against the Carolina defense, Keenan Allen, Emeka Egbuka, and then Jalen Waddle, Dalton Schultz, and 3,800. And I'm gonna go Devin Neal 5,000 there, hoping that volume wise, pass catching, whatever floor. And I'm gonna go Colts defense, who's had a surprisingly good year against the Houston Texans. Maybe C.J. Stroud has a little rust, throws a few picks. That's where I'm going. Now,
Hmm.
give me what you got, bud. What's your lineup looking
I'm
like?
making a in-game change right now. A
An in-game
GTD. I'm making
change.
a game time decision right now as we speak. I just had somebody hit me. I was like, why would I put him in, or why would I play him instead of him? I'll tell you who I substituted for him whenever I get there. But I've got Jacoby Brissett 5,800. I've got Devon A. Chain 8,300. Sound the alarm. Travis Etienne Jr. at 6,500. Nico Collins 6,700. That's another one we sound the alarm on, isn't it?
Yeah, for Cole, for you and Britain, not me
Oh,
though.
okay,
I'm
not
missing
you.
out.
Then no, there's no alarm for that then. John Mechie 3,800. I'm picking the high floor Jackson Smith and Jigba at 9,500. Will probably change by Sunday depending on how I feel. Taysom Hill at 2,700. I've got Jerry Judy at 4,100. I
Mm,
chose him over
mm,
Shimmery DK. I just substituted it.
mm.
I feel
Yeah,
like I feel like Jerry Judy might have some potential with a leaky 49ers defense.
yeah. They
Defense?
try. They didn't really get him involved as much as I wanted to last week. But
No,
who else you
they
got?
didn't. But defense, since I was going to pick the Vikings defense like Britain did, but since I have a Jigba in the lineup, I don't want to counteract myself. So I'm going with the Panthers defense against the Rams, and it might open me up a little bit
Whoa,
to some
open you
expo. It
up,
might
huh?
open me up to some exposure, and it might kill
Whoa.
me if they have a bad game. But let's check the stats. They had 7 last week against San Francisco, 2, 5, 9, -2, and then they had 17 one game. So I mean they're very mid.
Yeah,
Mid. There's
mid.
worse defenses. There's worse defenses than the Carolina Panthers. That's for sure. So that's my lineup that I've got picked. I want to see what the AI optimal lineup goes with because obviously I'm smarter than the machine. So
Well, yeah, the AI optimal lineup is right here. Tyrod Taylor, 4,300. Devon Achan, Brees Hall, Adonai Mitchell, sorry, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jalen Waddle, Oronde Gatson, Kyle Pitts, Browns defense. They're going
They're going double tight
tight
end.
end.
Man,
The
y'all
AI
are worried about
loves
AI taking y'all's
a
jobs,
good
man. What a terrible play.
loves a good tight end. Let me tell you what I think about that lineup. Oh, that's a great meme. Anyway, all right. Before we close it out, is there anybody this weekend that you pretty much look at and you wouldn't touch with someone else's money? Um,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I don't think you could pay me to pick Justin Jefferson.
mm,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't know who the heck this Max Brosmer guy is. Never heard of him. And I guarantee you, have you, for any of our listeners that maybe listen, do you guys ever seen Blue Mountain State, where Coach Marty Daniels turns and looks at the main character, and he's like, "Alex, you're in the game," and he's like, "No, thanks, Coach, I'm good." I guarantee you that was Max Brosmer's outlook for this whole season. and now he has to get in there and try and play a game against Seattle. So
Yeah.
have fun.
My no touchy this week, I think, is Christian McCaffrey on the higher end at 9,300, which is going to sound it's going to sound wild to say, but I've looked at his games this year. I mean, dude, he's been unbelievable. He hasn't had a game this year under 17 points. He's had one game under 17 points, and besides that, he hasn't dropped below 22. I mean, the floor is absolutely insane with his pass catching ability, but I will say this: the only game he had kind of a dud was against the Houston Texans this year. So you put him up against a good defense, he may have a struggle bus game and have a hard time finding his way to 27 points. And that double Achilles tendinopathy that he was dealing with, double Achilles, whatever he was dealing with last year, I still scared of him. Have something flaring up, and usually when players like him or good players play a good defense, I don't know, man. It just makes me think that injuries, like teams flying around, hitting you hard, it just scares me, man. When good players go up against good defenses, because you're going to get hit hard and you're going to get hit often when you're playing a good defense. So that's my no touch this week, Christian McCaffrey, and then yours was
Justin
Justin
Jefferson.
Jefferson. It's kind of funny, two
Mhm.
really high end players. But that's it. We'll close it out. Another week at the print, week 13. We'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully, Britton will be back with us. But there's enough to say.
All right,
That's it.
guys.
We're out of here.
Let the drama kick, the drama kick,